Good morning, folks. Chaim. Chaim, bro. All right. We continue with our mimer, with our Hasidic discourse. Tziyim b'mishpat tipate. Zion is redeemed with mishpat. Mishpat being, as we'll see in a moment, see shortly, judgment. And its captives are redeemed through tzedakah, charity. Come down over here. All righty. So those that are we call the inner heart. The core of the soul needs redemption, means it's still in exile, but through mishpat. But the inner, but the captives of the soul needs tzedakah. Let's explain what that means. What does it mean to call the inner heart, the depths of the person, Zion? So it's explained. Torah says, in the Shema, that these things that should be that I am commanding you today right? They should. What do you mean I'm commanding you today? Is God commanding you today? Commanded us over 3,300 years ago. So why does the verse say commanding us today? So our sages say in the Talmud, what it is implying is that in every day that we learn Torah, they should be like new. Not like, oh, I've learned that with you before. I learned Tanya before. I learned the Parsha, or I learned this before. This mimer, whatever it is, they should be in your eyes like they're new. And all of Torah needs to be that way, because all of Torah is the Torah of truth. And truth is not something that gets stale. Be new all the time. Now, that's a large, tall order, but God doesn't ask us anything that we're not capable of doing. He doesn't bring us something in our lives that we're incapable of meeting the challenge. So this is a big challenge. There's a big challenge that all the time when you study Torah, it should be like new stuff. Now, for me, sometimes I forget. So it's like, oh, it's new. But if we're talking about someone who doesn't forget, So they remember it. So they've learned it already and they know it. Still, it needs to be like new. L'chaim. Again, a tall order. So since this is something the Torah is demanding of us, it means we have the capability of reaching there. But how? A person is limited, which limitation means we're up to change. We have our ups, we have our downs. So then we'll have moments with this notion of there, wow, I see the novelty in this and the amazing teachings and other things. Not so much. Yet, this is what's demanded of us. How do we understand this? So, this is because of the inner heart. If we reach there, the inner heart of the individual is beyond any change. The inner heart is an expression of the core of your soul. Right? And the core of your soul is not up for change. Your intelligence, you could understand something today in one way and tomorrow in another way. That's change. You could feel about something or, about the teachings, in one way and feel about it another way. So when we're saying inner heart, the core of your heart, we're talking about core of your heart that's an expression of the core of your soul that's not up for change. The outer part of the heart is very much up to change. Like the guy when you asked him, "How are you?" Let me see. The way the winds are blowing, I'll tell you how I am. That's how most people are, right? The way the winds are blowing, that, if they blew in my direction and brought me what I want, I'm okay. If not, maybe I'm not so okay. Which is normal human behavior, because that is someone who is not touching the inner core of their heart. Right? So the inner core of your heart, again, is beyond any kind of change. Which means when we touch that place in us, where there's no change, there's a real connection. That's real. That's connection, not for the gain in the connection. That's the connection for the sake of the connection. Well, there will be no change. Whatever comes your way, you're connected to God. And even what comes your way, this is tough, but of loved ones, you're connected. Even if they said something not so nice. Ooh, really? Yeah. Not only are you connected, and not only you're aware of it, but even emotionally, you're okay. That's not so simple, obviously. It's a deep part of the heart to reach, where there is no change in your connection. The outer heart is not that way at all. It has its ups and downs. That's usually what we call heart, right? Feelings. You have your high moments, you have your low moments, you have your in-between moments. That's the outer heart. That's what we're talking about right now. when you touch that inner heart, which is an expression of the inner soul, then it will also express itself, not only, it'll affect rather, not just express itself, but it'll affect your thought, speech, and action. It'll affect your intelligence and your emotions and your thought, speech, and action. That they will be in a way that's aligned with the divine. And as a result, when you touch that place inside of you, it'll be your thoughts, then when you study Torah will be, oh, this is new. Not new that you didn't study this before, never heard of this, but it's touching. It's not a knowledge. It's not a knowledge for information's sake. For information's sake, may not be new knowledge when you study something in Torah. I know that information. I've learned that before. That's an information that is a means to an end to inform you. But if it's information, or it's study rather, not information, it's teachings of Torah which bring about a connection. So in the connection, it's fresh. It's like new. There's a freshness to it. Because it's not to some end. In the study itself is the end. It's not a means. So when you reveal that inner heart, what does the inner heart really want? Connection. For what purpose? To make lots of money? Or I could feel good about myself? Or I could have a comfortable life? No. Connection. Because we are connected. So you're sensing that connection. It's coming from a place of connection, because we are connected. And therefore, it will then express itself in your thought, speech, and action, and seeing the freshness of that connection. And therefore, when you're studying, like on a hot summer day, and you have your, that cup of water, that when you're kind of depleted, you feel the freshness. You feel the vitality. You sense the vitality, period. You feel connected. Okay, here one doesn't connect to water, but you feel in yourself more aligned and connected after the weary soul of, and then, have that drink of water. I don't know if that's the best metaphor, but l'chaim. Because the inner heart that expresses the inner soul is alive. It's alive um, inherently alive because it's inherently connected. Okay, I hope that was clear. Now, this is why, this then is what it means, Zion, Tzion, right? Explaining why the inner heart is called Zion. And the word Zion refers to, in most cases, Jerusalem. Sometimes it's referring to the Holy Land of Israel, right? But that's what it can mean over here. Says that Tzemach Tzedek in his discourse, the third Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Rebbe quotes him in our discourse, right? That would be a little, you know, that's referring to Jerusalem or to the Holy Land of Israel. When we're speaking about the inner heart, how would that fit in exactly? But it's actually referring to the Jewish people. How's it referring to the Jewish people? Because the core root of the word Zion, or Tzion in Hebrew, we use the word Tzion, right? What does it mean to really a Zionist, in other words? The word Tzion means siman. It is a sign. What does that mean? That when the inner core of your soul, which is expressed in the inner core of your heart, is revealed, then you become a sign in this world. That your whole being is nothing but a sign for that which is beyond you. You don't become a person for yourself. You become a divine conduit. You only see yourself as a divine conduit to fulfill what God needs from you. That's how you perceive yourself. That's how you not just perceive, but live in that manner. That's what Sia means, a siman, a sign, right? A sign is showing you, usually signs are held up high so people could see them because they're telling you something that you need to know. So the Jewish people are a sign to the world of something that's greater than them. Their whole being is nothing but a sign for the divine beyond. That's powerful. That is very powerful. Now, in what way are we a sign? What does that mean? But just, right? How's that expressed? So that will be the continuation. We're chapter 4, and that's what we will continue, God willing, in this beautiful mimer. All right. Any questions? Any comments? Let's see. All right.